contract law, all the normal things that you would think about that could arise in any aspect of a legal situation, not just inherently specific to what might happen in relation to research, but what I was proposing to do in the presentation that in my head I was going to give, which wasn't misdescribed and was actually on that USB stick, as I thought I had saved, was to talk about some regulatory issues. So there's a lot of mistakes and errors and omissions that can be made in relation to the regulatory environment that people can work under, and sometimes it's easier to think about aspects in relation to, say, the employment of people that you have in relation to a research issue, and so the smaller matters can be forgotten. So in terms of research and innovation, there's a heavy onus placed on people who are availing of approximately 12 billion euros a year that is available in that 7-year period from 2014 to 2020. And it would be easy, firstly, for some people still to be unaware of the fact that this is part of the legal framework, and then secondly, to be unaware of the degree to which, once you've accessed that funding, you will have jumped through a significant number of hoops, and that there is still an ongoing burden on you. You could be audited for 2 years after you've drawn down the final element of funding. And so when people are engaged in research issues, as I say, it can be difficult to keep on top of all the burdens that may be on them. And so the point here is to realise the significance of what can be entered into when you're seeking funding of this type. And so if you go back to the Lisbon Treaty, this is one of the areas where it's described as the European Union has shared competency with national member states. And that process that culminated in the treaty coming into effect in 2009, having been passed in 2007, took quite an amount of time to come into effect. If you cast your mind back to 2005, there were various problems in relation to national referendums. So what are my concluding remarks to offer to you? Firstly, if you're speaking at an event, just think you're going to go some to be more embarrassed than I am now. So secondly, this is likely, you would have thought, until the last 6 or 9 months, to be an area where there was movement towards the European Union having even greater competence and trying to edge out individual national member states. So that's not really a legal point, but it's examining more so the environment that could cause the legal framework to change. And of course, relatively recently, we've all been advised of the fact that there's going to be a referendum in the UK, there's going to be Brexit, there's going to be a corollary in terms of if that's voted into the relationships within the United Kingdom. It's seen as a justification for the Scottish independence people to ask for another referendum. There's an interrelationship still between the Republic of Ireland and the UK in terms of trade, and what happens in one impacts on the other. So determining what will happen in relation to this area is problematic in relation to the black swans that might emerge. So it's an area that's probably still not fully understood by people who could be affected or affected by it. There's a heavy regulatory impact in terms of keeping yourself right, in terms of getting that funding, and the after payment audits that might arise in some circumstances for 2 years. And at present there's an uncertain landscape beyond 2020. So thank you for your time. As I say, the slides that you didn't see are available for the very optimistic.